Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving into a really powerful and honestly transformative message from Bill Vincent and Revival Waves of Glory Ministries, all laid out in his book, Breaking Through. It kicks off with a profound idea. What if the key to unlocking these unprecedented miracles, this incredible prosperity, and just raw spiritual power was simply unity? The book makes the case that this isn't just a nice goal to have, it's a spiritual command. But it also asks a really important question. If this blessing is right there for the taking, what are the invisible patterns, the unseen traditions that are holding us back? That's what we're going to unpack. So what does it really take to break through? Let's get into it. And really, everything in this book comes back to this one core idea. Unity isn't just presented as, a nice concept for a team-building exercise. It's framed as a spiritual weapon. It's a fortress. The idea is that when a group, could be a marriage, a family, an entire ministry, achieves that complete alignment in purpose and spirit, a powerful blessing is literally commanded over them. From that point of view, anything that creates discord or disunity isn't just an argument, it's seen as a direct attack designed to cut off that divine flow of power. So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to explore the incredible promise that comes with unity. Then we'll uncover the main obstacle, what the book calls tradition. After that, we'll walk through the process for having a real breakthrough. And finally, we'll look at the vision for a whole new kind of leadership that this journey is meant to create. Okay, so let's dig into that foundational promise. According to the book, when people get into true unity, it commands a blessing of prosperity that's beyond anything we've really seen before. And we're not just talking about one person getting wealthy. This is about a level of abundance that completely rewrites the script for an entire community, allowing for a whole new level of generosity and impact. The book gets super specific about what this commanded blessing looks like. And here's the crucial insight. The financial breakthrough and the miraculous are directly connected. The idea isn't just that they happen around the same time. No, it's that one literally clears the path for the other. When a breakthrough in prosperity happens, it allows people to give on a massive scale. And that very act of unified generosity is what clears the spiritual air, so to speak, for a huge surge in signs and wonders to become the new normal. So if these amazing blessings are just waiting for us, what's stopping them? Well, according to this message, the single biggest hurdle is distraction, specifically worry about money. The argument is that so many of us are just consumed by the constant grinding thoughts of paying bills, making ends meet, and there's just no mental or spiritual space left for faith in the miraculous to even take root. It's like this constant state of worry builds a wall, a blockade, against the very breakthroughs we're praying for. And that brings us right to the heart of the issue. We have to identify the root cause of all this distraction and spiritual stagnation. The book points its finger at a very specific culprit, a force it calls the traditions of man, and it presents this as the main reason people and whole communities get stuck. This is the big question the book really wrestles with. If God has promised all of this, the prosperity, the power, the breakthroughs, why isn't it happening everywhere all the time? The answer it provides is that we're often held captive not by some outside force, but by our own internal negative cycles, what the author powerfully calls tradition. Now, this is so important to get right. The book is not talking about your positive family heritage or rich cultural traditions. It defines tradition as a destructive pattern of thought and expectation. You know that familiar rut we fall into? That subconscious belief that things will probably go wrong because they've always gone wrong before? That's the tradition it's talking about. It's a cycle of failure that starts to feel normal, and because it feels normal, it's incredibly dangerous. To make this crystal clear, the book shares this really powerful story about a mother and son. They were stuck in this painful cycle. Every single month, they'd run out of money and food before their next check came. It was their tradition. Then, they got a huge, unexpected sum of money, enough to break them out of that cycle for good. But what happened? They unconsciously fell right back into their old patterns of spending, and in a short time, they were right back in the exact same desperate situation. That, the book says, is a tradition that literally buries you alive by locking you into your past. This idea that these unseen traditions are the real enemy of our progress is a huge part of the book's message. If this is resonating with you and you want to dig deeper into how to identify and break these kinds of cycles, they're explored in way more detail over on the ministry's website. Okay, so if this kind of tradition is the prison, then how in the world do you break out? Well, the book doesn't just point out the problem, it lays out a really clear and powerful path to transformation. It's a process for moving from that stuck, stagnant place into a real, active breakthrough. To explain this whole spiritual process, the author uses this fantastic and vivid metaphor: a bow and arrow. This analogy is designed to completely reframe how we look at those seasons of struggle, pressure, and delay. It teaches us to see them not as setbacks, but as essential parts of a powerful launch sequence. And it perfectly illustrates the 4 stages. So first, you have the target. That's your God-given destiny. Second, here comes the pullback. This is that tough phase. You feel immense tension, pressure. You feel like you're actually going backward, not forward. The book argues this is God stretching you, building up potential energy. Third is the hold, that moment of stillness right before the release. It feels like nothing is happening, but it's a critical time for alignment. And finally, you get the release, where you are launched forward with incredible force, catapulted straight towards your target. You see? The delay and the tension weren't a punishment. They were the source of your power all along. So how do you get through that pullback and that hold phase without just giving up? The book offers a surprisingly simple but incredibly profound tool: Thanksgiving. It suggests that gratitude, especially when you're in the middle of the pressure, is the key that shatters those old traditions of complaining and worrying and fearing the worst. Just saying thank you, it argues, is a powerful act of faith that unlocks what the book calls the true treasures of God. And this whole process, breaking tradition, getting through the pullback, and being launched forward, it isn't just for your own personal benefit. The final piece of the puzzle explains that the ultimate purpose of all this is to raise up a new generation of victorious leaders who can then turn around and help other people break through too. So the goal here is a complete and total shift in your mindset. It's about consciously choosing to move away from a victim mentality, where your focus is always on the problems, the bills, and you're just expecting failure. The destination is a victorious vision. And in that vision, your focus shifts from your problems to God's purpose. Your faith becomes an act of defiance against your circumstances, and instead of getting buried, you break right on through. And this is where the vision for leadership connects directly to the next generation. The book issues a very, very strong warning against what it sees as a common and destructive tradition in a lot of established circles: pushing young people to the side. The argument is that when you hinder their rise, whether it's out of fear or control, you're actually damaging the spiritual inheritance of the entire community. The author really emphasizes that a new wave of spiritually gifted young people is rising up. Prophetic teenagers, even kids as young as 4 having supernatural encounters. He shares his own stories of being silenced as a young man with a gift, and then later, as a pastor, facing resistance just for prioritizing ministry to children. The core message is this: true victorious leaders don't build kingdoms for themselves, they make room for their successors. Because the principle of unity means our destinies are all linked. When the next generation prospers, everybody prospers. This powerful vision for the future, one that's centered on unity, on breaking these destructive traditions, and empowering the next generation, is really the culmination of the whole message. For anyone who wants to explore these ideas directly from the source, Bill Vincent's work and all his ministry resources are available at his ministry's website. So to wrap this all up, this central argument we've explored from breaking through is that unity commands a blessing. But it's often our own unseen negative traditions, those cycles of worry and stagnation, that block it. The path forward is about embracing transformation, reframing delays as preparation, and building a victorious mindset that lifts others up. And that leaves us with one final powerful thought. If tradition is an invisible pattern that holds you back, what might be an unseen tradition that's shaping your own life? Thank you for listening to the Deep Dive Podcast.